Brandon Ingram was in the game doing some point. If the Los Angeles Lakers are talking about using Brandon Ingram somewhat as a point guard, considering his length, his ability to defend, et cetera, and you're talking about that being in the lineup with the Harts, the Kuzmas of the world, the LeBrons of the world, et cetera, I kind of like that. I'd like to explore what that looks like moving forward for the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm not going to completely get off my proclamation that they should trade Brandon Ingram and go out and get somebody like Bradley Beal, because I do believe they should prioritize getting another shooter, a big-time shooter on their roster. But I will say, because of the length and athleticism that Brandon Ingram has, if indeed he could play some point for you, then, excuse me, that's something that you might want to entertain. Luke Walton clearly is entertaining it because he utilized it to some degree last night. It worked very effectively for them. Rondo helped to win the game last night, along with Tyson Chandler, because both of them got offensive rebounds or tapped the ball out for offensive rebounds, giving the Lakers possessions, enabling them to hold on to the ball and denying the Minnesota Timberwolves a last shot, because Derrick Rose has returned. This brother is looking special right now. I spoke to him after the game. He says his health is feeling really, really good, Max. He's looking even better. Those two big-time three-pointers to pull within one against the Lakers last night. Derrick Rose is returning. I'm loving what I'm seeing from him, but I also liked what I saw from the Lakers with the possibility that Brandon Ingram can play some point for you that could end up being very effective for them.
Yeah. Real quick, remember a couple of weeks ago I said there was someone at ESPN who was mentioning what's the real difference between Russell Westbrook and Derrick Rose. I didn't want to shout him out if they didn't want to be. Andrew Hahn, who works on the .com side and everything, brought that up during the last trip out here. What's the difference between Rose and Westbrook at this moment?
Westbrook's a better dresser. That's where you're going.
Derrick Rose at his best was the league MVP, and he looks better than he's looked since before the 8th.
He's looking really, really good, and he's feeling good. I'm real happy for him. He's feeling good.
All right.
So he says.
Let me answer the question. Did I see enough to calm my worries about the Lakers? The answer is no. Tyson Chandler will help with, post defense and weak side rotations, and he's a smart defensive player. But there's a reason he's available right now. The Lakers, that's the bad news. Right? The Lakers' defense is bad. And we know why the perimeter defense is bad, because LeBron James can't lead by example on the defensive end early in an 82-game regular season when they're also planning on making a playoff run. And he's been to the finals every year since, 15 BC, right? He needs to preserve himself. So LeBron James teams start slowly, and increasingly that slow start is more of a slow start. Yeah. It's an even worse start. He needs to be on a team, if you want them to start better, with more self-motivated defensive players. The Lakers don't have a lot of those kind of guys on the team at the moment. So that's the kind of obvious one. The other one, which is maybe a little less obvious unless you've been watching the games, is they didn't have any real shot alterers in the middle. Right? Even when you think about the Golden State Warriors' success with their small ball lineup, they still had a guy like Bogut, a guy who can make you think in the paint. And McGee can do that for 18, 20 minutes, whatever, but what about the rest of the game? So Tyson Chandler fits in there. And here's the good news for the Lakers. It doesn't solve all their problems. They're going to have to make a deadline deal or a deal by the trade deadline if they hope to compete in the playoffs, maybe even make the playoffs. But here's the good news. LeBron James is so great that you can take players around the league off the scrap heap, and you don't have to worry about what they can't do. You can focus on what they can do. So if Tyson Chandler and McGee can help in certain respects on your interior defense, but there are problems in other areas, it's okay. LeBron can compensate for that. As for Brandon Ingram, Stephen A.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, Max. I got to interrupt you. I just need to ask you a question. Did you see enough from the Lakers? Because I don't understand.
No, he said no.
He said no, very clearly.
Okay. Because it sounded like yes. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know. I didn't know.
What happened just then? What happened just then for everyone who heard me say no 3 times is Stephen A. gets text from throughout the NBA throughout the show. I saw you getting a text from somebody just then.
I got a couple of texts already, but I was asking.
Don't worry, I had a joke. No one laughed.
I was asking because you were talking about the Lakers in a very positive way.
Well, I'm saying the answer is no. That's the bad news. They're going to have to make a deadline deal. The good news is, with LeBron, you can kind of patchwork things to kind of keep your head above water until you can make the major move. Brandon Ingram. How many point guards do they need on the team? Rondo, LeBron, Lonzo. By the way, KCP can handle a little point.
Okay.
Brandon Ingram.
Is that a rhetorical question? Would you
yes,
like me to
it's a rhetorical question.
Okay.
I don't think Ingram's going to be packaged because you and I agree. Hart and Kuzma are the keepers right now. Even if their upside is more limited, they're already playing at like league average for their position, all things considered, and they're young. They can still get better. They're going to have to bring in a star. It increasingly looks like Lonzo is going to have to go. The problem for the Lakers is because Lonzo needs the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
But LeBron needs the ball in his hands. Rondo needs the ball in his hand. There are other players who also, so Lonzo's effectiveness on offense is diminished. The problem is he's their best defender who's not a big. And the defense really needs help right now. That's the conundrum that the Lakers face at this moment.
I'm not calling LeBron out because it's not necessary. He's the best in the world, and I want to be respectful here. The point is this, and it's early, so I understand it. But if we're going to be honest about this, already early this season, I had a coach that played against the Lakers early this season text me yesterday and said, Stephen, they called me out, saying, call it like you see it. What are you talking about? You know, just messing with me as always. That's what people say when they want you to say what they want you to say, all right? And their whole point was LeBron is missing defensive assignments. Now, there have been times when I've seen him do that, as always, because he's conserving himself, all of that other stuff. We get all of that. But if we're talking about the Los Angeles Lakers, at some point in time, have we gotten to the point where we're going to have to see not only what we've seen from Kawhi Leonard, but if we're given enough credit, what we have seen lately from Kevin Durant? One of the things that I've paid attention to in Kevin Durant over the last couple of years since he's arrived at Golden State, one of the things that he's done, we know what he's a scoring machine or whatever, but what Kevin Durant has done, he goes out there from open and tap and accepts the toughest defensive assignment. I'm coming for you. So what I'm saying is that it may come down to us requiring that we see that from LeBron.